Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first night of the Bloody Invitational Gaming League, sponsored by and brought to you by Darkstar Gaming. My name is Mark Rafa Alexander Arambida, and joining me on the desk is my boy, Lombax Pie Boy, a.k.a. a good friend, Brandon. How's it going, man?
It is going fantastic, Rafa. We are here for the first night of the season. You got to be hyped for that.
Absolutely. The one way to kick off the evening, and what a great way to start off by having the reigning champions from the previous Darkstar Gaming season, Team Clarity, taking on the newcomer org and Fruition Esports tonight.
Exactly. And this is going to be an interesting one as well because the matchups in the lanes themselves are a little bit spicy. Up in the top lane, of course, we do have Tony Top Lol for the reigning champions Team Clarity, and he's going to be going up against Jayton. And both of them have put in a ton of games in the previous season. Not really anybody else is coming quite close to their numbers for the amount of games they have grinded. And that should be a really spicy matchup based on their champion pools. So I am excited to see that one.
Yeah, and it's a huge testament to the dedication and the amount of commitment that they've put in the prior season, or just this season alone, to basically make a mark for the 9th competitive season of League of Legends here. But one thing that we have to point out, I know, Lombax, not everything is about the rank, but when you look at Tony Top, he's Challenger 727 LP, and when you look at Jayton, he's sitting at Diamond 2 0P.
He was Masters at the end of the season, so maybe a little bit of preseason slump. It does actually happen, unfortunately, to the best of us. But of course, new season's coming up. Everybody's going to feel that fire coming up, lighten them up, getting them ready to grind out some solo queues. So I'm sure this is going to be the first step towards them getting ready for that, as that is going to be starting in just a couple days here. Everybody is filling into the lobby slowly, so we should hopefully be underway pretty shortly. Rafa, I know you're normally a play-by-play, but that means you sort of, go for those big plays. What are you thinking in terms of big play champions that you've seen so far in like LEC, LCK? Is there anything you're looking out for just in terms of a broader scope of champions you'd like to see?
You know, what's funny about the LCK is that this is one of the few times of the competitive season where, because everything is so new and people are still figuring out, what is strong after the preseason changes and the starting changes on 9.1. LCK has taken a huge investment in things like the Urgot still being around with the Unsealed Spellbook. That's a great flex pick going over to the top lane or the mid lane. And we also still see huge priority onto the Cassiopeia, who has evolved as this huge lane bully, when in the past, we've normally thought about Cassiopeia as just being this massive late game scaling monster that just needed time. But going to Arcane Comet Keystone and then going into the Q Max just allows her to harass and win a lot of lanes that she didn't really used to win before.
Yeah, and I think the Cassiopeia is an interesting one as well because she actually can play in all three lanes if you play it right. And with that Q Max, she has some nasty early damage. So if one of them is really able to pull it off, and they've been hiding that well, you know how usually in those upper ranks, people like to have alts, they'll practice weird things on it when they're in the amateur scene. So maybe you could see something like that in the bottom lane, in the top lane. And with how many games Tony Top grinds out, it wouldn't surprise me if he's hiding him a couple pocket picks himself.
Definitely makes a lot of sense. And I think another pick that we also have to look at is the Camille as well. Camille in the jungle, along with the likes of Kha'Zix, have kind of emerged as the top tier junglers here for the most part around the world. And they just have probably, I mean, Camille is a jungler that just has a lot of flexibility in terms of gank routes, whereas Kha'Zix he just brings a lot of damage, man.
Yeah, the jungle is definitely going to be nerfed in the coming patches as well. That one's been stated by Riot, and they are not liking how much damage is coming out of there. And with Kind Jungle, of course, stepping in on Team Clarity just recently, he is known for that, with that Kha'Zix being his most played. He's got the Talia up there, the Kindred in Italy as well. So, he's going to be looking for those huge carry junglers. On top of Matty Moo on the other side as well, he's got that Xin up there. We've seen him a ton in all the regions. The Hail of Blades and Zhao that everybody's been raving about. Don't know if that'll come out this evening, but it is certainly an exciting pick if he gets snowballing.
Right. Well, it is I believe Kind Jungle's most played, and I'm just and I just want to clarify with you, Lomback. So technically on the roster pre-sheet we did receive for Team Clarity, we saw that Madimu was the jungle, but it seems like they are using a substitute, if I am not mistaken here.
Matty Moo is the jungler for Fruition. Kind Jungle is subbing in. Well, not subbing in. I think he's on the main roster now for Team Clarity.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. Oh, I was looking at I meant Demetrio. That's right. Because Demetrio was not in sight for, but yeah. So Kind Jungle will be the sub here for Team Clarity, and just wanted to make sure
Either
we were
way,
all clear here. Yeah.
Yeah, it does look like there was more than one change as well. It looks like Mimi Baby is stepping into the mid lane for Team Clarity. So you know how preseason does go, not just for your ranks when they're slipping, as some of the Fruition members have found out, Jayton. But of course, the rosters will change as well. And Clarity, they were the champions last season, so I expect any changes they're going to be making is, of course, going to be in favor of them. And with Mimi Baby stepping in and Kind Jungle as well, known in the amateur scene as one of those powerhouse junglers, it should make for a stronger Clarity roster and an explosive match one.
Oh wow! So yeah, when you look at the rank difference between Demetrio and Kind Jungle, that's a huge upgrade. So I guess that's a pretty damn good thing for the side of Team Clarity here. But Mimi Baby, on the other hand, this is gonna be. We were kind of looking at the mid lane matchup as well, Drew Dozer, and what we previously thought was in the hands of I'm blanking on the name, GGS. It seemed like GGS would have a more favorable matchup, but now this time around, it could be something that swings to the side of Drew Dozer. And we were talking about before we went live on the cast that if Fruition Esports are going to look for a series win against Team Clarity here, they're going to have to play to their top side of the map here.
Yeah, the top side of the map as well is an interesting one to talk about just in general, because you can play it in so many different ways right now. There are some really good tank champions that are available for you to play up top side. Things like the Scion, still really favorable. But you can go for those carry-oriented picks, which both Jayton and Tony Top really like. And I think that'd be the more interesting matchup to watch, because it really just, with the prevalence of teleport going down a little bit, you can run an ignite if you really want to be aggressive. It opens you up to snowball so much harder from a position that typically was just sort of the TP bot. You'd come in to save your bot lane or whatever. Now you really have the potential to start racking up kills with those new bounties, turret platings, and then roll that across the rest of the map to win.
Absolutely. And one thing that I'm going to be wanting to look at is what champions Jayton and Tony Top are going to be looking towards. Because when we look at their champion pools, the only thing that really comes up as a similarity is that Kennen. But then other than that, Jayton has been leaning more towards York and Gnar in his solo queue games, whereas Tony Top, he's got something more like the lines of the Jax, the Fiora, and the Camille.
The other one that's interesting as well, I think, is bottom lane. We haven't touched on it much. I did very much just briefly glance over it at the top of the show, but that position as well, I think, offers some interesting picks, because on the side of Team Fruition, you do have Gibble and Twitch TV Blitzcrank in that bottom lane. Neither of them really have strong champion pools. Twitch TV Blitzcrank, of course, as you could probably guess by the name, plays a lot of Blitzcrank. And he's got a little bit of Bard on the side, but that's about it for his support champion pool. Whereas Gibble has almost no ADCs even in his match history. So maybe they're looking for like a bruiser bottom lane type thing. He's got a lot of Jax and Irelia in that list. They could spice things up in the draft with something like that, as you can still get away with some of those bruisers at bottom side.
Right. And I think that the draft has started here for the side of for Team Clarity and Fruition Esports. Just want to make sure that we're all caught up here.
I do not have the link for that.
I got you, my butt. If you let me see if I can get you the.
All right, perfect. Yeah, well, we are already rolling right through these. Okay. So,
the train has begun, my friend.
Yes. Looks like we are getting that Xin Zhao hover right now. Got to be locked in. So we've already gone through the first 3 bans here for both sides. Of course, Team Clarity losing one of those because they were a little bit late here, unfortunately, for this game number 1. But they've taken off the Irelia and Camille, 2 super strong picks. And Fruition Esports, of course, taking away the Jax, Lucian, and Galio. Those are all really prevalent ones as well. The Jax, of course, for Tony Top, not really something you want to give him when he has 500 games almost on it.
That's right. I do find it surprising that they seem to ban out their own top laner with the Aurelia and the Camille bans, as we don't really see any records of Jayton playing that, but probably just a sign of respect, as that Ezreal has been locked in for Gibble. One thing that we do have to note, Gibble does not have that many games on traditional marksman. It's really Gangplank, Jax, Aurelia, and Darius along the board, so playing an Ezreal probably is just the safest thing you can get for this guy.
That's very true. And of course, you have to remember as well, the Camille ban there that you mentioned can be targeted towards the jungle. Now we see the got locked in very quickly, though, for Team Clarity. That is a powerhouse top laner and going to be a really spicy pickup for them. Can't wait to see Tony Top hopefully popping off on that one.
Yeah, and the Kha'Zix also being locked in here for Kind Jungle, and that is his most played in solo queue. 157 games this season, but if we look at past seasons, another 100, 200 games on there, and he has a whopping win rate on that. So giving the jungle his main, it's kind of nice, though, because if you look over on Manimu's side, his main jungler is also the Xin Zhao. So it's kind of like the best of the best duking it out, but only one will emerge victorious in this match.
The Akali locked in now as well for Fruition. They have a lot of damage in the mid game here with what they've picked up. That Xin Zhao with the Hail Blades. The Akali, of course, with the huge power spike on the Hextech Gunblade. Going to be a lot of damage for them to deal with if they fall behind with that Cassiopeia, who needs a little bit to scale up. The Morgana now banned away by them as well. Throwing it over to Team Clarity, saying, all right, we can take away a couple supports, even though our support is the Blitzcrank one trick.
Well, I would like to see what Blitzcrank can pull out here, because even though he is a Blitzcrank and a Bar 2 trick right here, oh my god. All right, well, let's see what he's got, boys.
we've gotten rid of 3 of his most played supports already here. That's this is already looking pretty bad.
Well, if we look down the solo queue records lineup, he's got 2 games on Braum, so if Team Clarity really want to shotgun his knees right now, they can take the big, strong mustachio man away from him unless they feel like a threat is needed to be banned somewhere else.
Well, Sandra taken off, though, by Fruition Esports. I kind of like that, as they're looking at that Cassiopeia, saying it can be flexed towards that bottom side, and then instead trying to take away the mid lane pick. Yorick now taken off the table from Fruition. That's a pretty big takeaway there because, of course, Jayton, most played champion Yorick, 774 games on that. That's a lot of games on one champion.
Yeah, I hope my boy Shanghai is watching, because he's a Yorick one trick himself, but I always tell him, man, I don't know if you're going to make that champion work. But Jayton, I mean, if he's climbing that high, he's got to take some tips from him sometime.
Yeah. 1 second left on this last pick. No lock-in. I assume that's a mistake from Fruition. There's no search feature right now in our current thing. It does look like it's a Pyke that was locked in.
Well, if it is a Pyke support being locked in for Fruition Esports, that does mean this will be the first time that we've seen Blitzcrank play it in a competitive sense, unless he's been practicing on like a Smurf of some sort.
That's always true. You can always practice on a Smurf.
Oh,
Whoa, Soraka locked in. That is a very questionable pick into the Pyke. Pyke is a hook champion, so if you play a lot of Blitzcrank, you could very easily roll that into something like a Pyke. It's a little bit more aggressive, but when you pick Soraka into that, that's so questionable in my mind. You're just opening yourself up to a world of hurt.
wait.
I doubt they're actually going to pick that
Yeah,
Alistair.
I was about to say, it's like, are we returning to Soraka mid? That was a dark time, Lombax. But the Jace has been locked in. More than likely, I'm suspecting that could be either a mid lane pick for Mimi Baby, or we could even see in the top lane if we flex the Urgot mid.
This is so much flex. Quite literally, all three of those champions can go in any role. The Cassiopeia can be played in all three. Urgot could technically be played mid and top, potentially even bottom if you're really going to stretch it. And Jace, of course, has the potential for all three. We've seen him in all three roles before. The Shen going to be the final lock-in, though, for Fruition Esports. This is an interesting lineup they've got here, considering how much protection they will have and damage to follow up on that.
Yeah, just taking a quick look at the composition overall, we really don't have. I mean, if you want to consider Urgot just at the most a bruiser, not necessarily a tank, even though he can be on the front lines and soak up a lot of damage. Whereas you look on the other side for Fruition, they do have an actual tank in the form of Shen, but he can also do some split pushing if he needs to.
Apologies, Rafa was unfortunately booted from the lobby when we all were.
Yeah, I was trying to enter the tournament code again, and it wouldn't let me in. So maybe somebody has to.
I believe you have room now. Back to the draft, though. Both of these compositions here are really interesting the way they're going to play into each other because there's a lot of mid-game damage on both sides. The Cassiopeia maybe a little bit less so for the side of Team Clarity, but Fruition Esports, with what they've currently drafted, everything is for that mid-game damage. The Xin Zhao with Halo Blades, the Ezreal when he's going to hit that 2-item power spike, the Akali as soon as she picks up that Gunblade, and Pyke, of course, from the very get-go is going to be looking to run down that Soraka and the rest of the team snowballing off of the gold from his ultimate. So that is a very fast-paced game that Fruition's looking to play with this team comp. And if they can't do that, I feel like they're going to struggle a little bit later when they run into that really consistent long-range DPS from the Jace, as well as the Cassiopeia to just sort of demolish the health bars of Fruition and keep themselves topped up with that Soraka.
Yeah. I do apologize. I'm just trying to get into this lobby, but the tournament code keeps saying it's invalid, and I think I just need an invite from someone, and
I'll hit you up with that invite, Rafa. Don't you worry. I got you, buddy.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Yeah, Team Clarity, though, with their team comp. Of course, Kind Jungle being on one of his most played junglers, I'm expecting that he's going to have a pretty big impact on this game. And if he does, I think we'll have a little bit more of an interesting game because that, I think, is probably the primary win condition we've got here for that late game Cassiopeia, as well as the Urgot that's going to become this massive meat wall that nobody can take down on the side of Fruition. If you can just get a couple lanes to be even, they don't have to worry about the burst damage from Fruition then, and they can just power through to that late game win condition that they've set up for themselves.
Yeah, this will definitely be explosive, and I want to see how well Madimu can actually stand up to Kind Jungle here. I mean, once again, rank isn't everything, but when you are going up against someone who is more notorious than you are in solo queue rankings and is playing on a jungle that can explode and snowball potentially as you're playing that Kha'Zix versus the Xin Zhao, whereas you only have like a small window of opportunity to make things work, then if you're rooting for Fruition Esports, you got to pray that Madimu can get some really good ganks off to start off the game.
Of course, that rank discrepancy is always something you got to keep in the back of your mind, though, as we've talked about a couple times here. Kind Jungle, one of those top tier amateur junglers, whereas Madimu Not quite of the same caliber, but right now they're pretty close in LP. Actually, they are identical. Matty Moose sitting at 275, Khan Jungle as well. So maybe that's, the sign that Matty Moose says, I'm ready to take it to the top amateur. Khan Jungle, you are my stepping stone to victory.
All right, and as we're getting ready for finally getting onto the Rift, we're of course waiting for that spectator delay. I just want to see if it is possible to take a quick break just to try and fix things on technical end so that we're all ready to go once we get onto the Rift. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We're hopefully going to be ready to go in terms of spectating the game, but just reviewing the compositions one more time here. Lombax, we talked a little bit about the jungle matchup, but we didn't really talk about it in depth. As to say, this Kha'Zix doesn't have the best ganking tools. He has a gap closer in the leap, but that Xin Zhao technically, would you say, can just have a better ganking presence, or would he also be able to 1v1 the Kha'Zix as well?
I think it depends on what keystone you go for, because the phase rush, I think, really lends itself to better ganking from the Xin Zhao. The Hail of Blades, of course, is going to make him way better at skirmishing, and if you can actually get in a position to mow somebody down, he has way more damage, but he's not going to be able to stick to somebody quite as well. And where you're up against champions like the Urgot, who's got the dash, the Jace with the knockback on its hammer, it's going to be a little bit harder to get close to people. So I think his only true avenue, if he goes Hail of Blades, is to try and find something in that bottom lane against the immobile Soraka and potentially Cassiopeia. Whereas Kha'Zix with that leap, he's got so many places that he can go. There is not a ton of mobility that will be able to get them out, with Urgot, of course, having the flip if he's up against the Shen. You've got Akali, who's not going to have anything to get away until level 6. The Ezreal will be able to, and the Pyke as well, but I don't think you're going to be seeing many ganks down bottom side for that Kha'Zix, considering the difficulty that Soraka and Cassiopeia are going to have.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing that we have to note here for Team Clarity is that bot lane, focusing bot lane, really a win condition or necessarily a worry for them? I mean, when we looked at the preseason rankings for Team Clarity versus Fruition Esports, the big question mark factor is Gibble and Blitzcrank. Like, how is this bot lane going to fare up against a more seasoned bot lane in the likes of Sonar and Cat Ears? Does Kind Jungle, yes, of course, we talked about how if it's a Cassiopeia Soraka bot lane, then more than likely we're just not going to see a gank's presence at all. But does even Madimu bother to help his bot lane out, or does he just focus the top side of the map?
That's an interesting question, because you'd think that the bot lane can just auto win based on the champions that they have, but I don't think him heading top lane is really going to help out a whole lot. Shen's real objective is just kind of to get to that tanky stage. He's never really going to kill the Urgot unless he gets some sort of insane lead. They pick up Infernal Dragons as well, and there's just no way the Urgot can fight him. But the mid lane, he can affect some. It just seems like going towards that top side will be a little bit more difficult for him based on the champions he's up against and how those matchups are going to play. Whereas that bottom side, even if he does get off just one good gank, that could be enough to snowball them and allow them to just hard carry the game for his team.
Yeah, and especially with the infinite amount of sustain that Soraka support seems to provide, it would appear that if and I just want to do ask, because I can't see champ select at the moment, but it is confirmed it is going to be Cassiopeia bot lane with the Soraka. That means that Cassiopeia should just have a pretty easy time sustaining up against non-aggressive Ezreal. It might be up to Blitzcrank on this Pyke to see if he can make something happen, but I would have strong doubts about anything explosive happening in the bot lane.
Can never rule out the hook champion, though. Of course, Blitzcrank might be known for those, so the fact that he's on Pyke could bode some ill omens for the mobile Soraka.
That's fair. Yeah, I guess if you can master one hook champion, then you've mastered them all. Thresh and Pyke, even Nautilus, if you want to go around all the Hook City champions. And then this mid lane, it is not Mist. It is Mimi Baby for the side of Team Clarity, unless. Oh, what is the confirmed name? Because I'm looking on the screen here, and then we looked at it in the draft, and we have so many the different names here. But anyway, Team Clarity mid. He is going to be on the Jace versus this Akali. Just wanting to get a quick dive in. What is this matchup going to be like? Because in the past, we've really seen Jace be kind of just a huge lane bully that doesn't necessarily scale well into the late game, but can be a strong split pusher if he needs to be.
He certainly can be, and against the Akali, he'll have that range advantage early to poke her out. It's how the Akali is going to respond to that, how you use the Shroud to avoid damage. Because if Mimi Baby is able to get on top of you, he's got the Ignite. That Jace is known for that level 3 one-shot. It's all on Drew Dozer to play it safely and avoid getting to a point where he is going to be one-shot by that Jace. Just try and pick up as much farm as he can until the level 6 when Akali really gets a chance to fight back with that ultimate.
Only time will tell here. And yeah, we're going to just throw it to one more quick technical break as we we get everything ready together before we hit the rift, guys. We'll be right back.
When your hands are busy, you should have the only storage system of its kind. Unmatched technology at your fingertips and capability you won't find in other trucks. Keep your hands busier than ever with the all-new Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2019 Truck of the Year.
Well-qualified returning lessees get this low-mileage lease on the 2019 Ram 1500 Classic or
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Sorry for the delay on that one. We're just just trying to figure everything out. Riot spectator issues are unfortunate, but I think now we are going to get some kind of a visual feed. But Lombax, we're already seeing a trade in the top side of the map between Jayton and Tony Top.
Yeah, in the mid lane as well, of course. Mimi Baby taking a little bit of damage there. That's not going to be the way you want to start off the lane. Talked about how he has the potential to smash that mid lane. When you start it at half health, it's a little bit harder.
Yeah, and already we're seeing Matty Moo going for the clear, starting on the top side of the map for that red buff. More than likely, will opt into the Krugs, and then the Scuttle Crab for that easy level 3. I was wrong.
All right. So bottom lane as well. Hook does connect there onto Cat Ears.
Oh, and there's a lot of aggressive trading in the mid lane as well. Man, this is... We're not even 3 minutes yet, and already things are warming up here, Lombax.
Yeah, this is going to be a spicy game. I called it from the very start, and it's certainly living up in the first 2 minutes. The Cassiopeia bottom lane, of course, going to be a little bit more interesting to watch as this goes on. Level 2 hit first by Fruition.
Oh, man, and then already aggressively trading the Ignite comes down, and First Blood, wouldn't you know, it actually goes over to Kibble and Blitzcrank.
Yeah, of course. The Pike able to pick it up with that beautiful hook from Blitzcrank. Plays the hook champions. He lands them 2 in a row there. 1 on the Cat Ears, 1 on the Sonar. Nothing they can do to get it. And Cat Ears, of course, hooked again. Just a little bit of trade damage there this time. Gibble too low to step up.
Yeah, he's got to be careful. Even though it is a Soraka, that Q Starfall does hurt a lot if you take too much of it.
Top lane going fairly evenly, as I'd expect. Jayton a little bit down on CS. The Shen not going to be able to match up super well into the Urgot. Maybe once he gets some items.
Oh,
Dozer.
Trade in the mid lane, going pretty aggressive, but Drew Dozer still flashes and ignites in, goes right back into the Shroud. Is he going to be able to live? Oh, just barely to get the trade out.
Yeah, the lack of mana, I think, is what did it there for Mimi Baby. He was completely out, not really able to trade back much. That one tower shot was enough to make the difference, though, picking up the kill onto Drew Dozer.
Already, yeah.
We haven't talked about jungle at all, I guess, but bot and mid lane have been fighting pretty consistently.
Yeah, we've been contradicted so far. We expected there wasn't going to be that much action in the bot lane so far, but the First Blood going over to Gibble out of all people that we were expecting, and then, of course, the trade between Mimi Baby, aka Mist, and Drew Dozer in the mid lane.
Now that he's returned to lane, though, Sonar, a little bit of that health advantage, just trying to farm it out. I expect this will even out a little bit unless they get another kill. Just that tier for Gibble won't make the difference in the future fights, especially as Sonar starts to put points into that queue. Hook does land, though. Trade a little bit off.
So far, the pressure is just being kept up here by Gibble and Pike. Gosh, that's so infuriating. Blitzcrank is on Pike, but he's not Blitzcrank. Meanwhile, top lane, going in for the taunt. We see Matty Moo here for the gank as well. Now Tony Top, he knows something is up. He still has the flash if he needs it, uses the disdain to get some distance away. Matty Moo still goes in with the audacious charge. Does he flash here? And Matty Moo just flashes right on top of him, ensuring that kill.
Of course, the Xin Zhao with that Halo Blade's able to pick it up. No problem for him. Tony Top going to be sent back to base and give a little bit of extra farm over to Jayton. So that'll help him out a lot in the ensuing fights there. Mid lane, however.
Yeah, Pyke is actually looking for the Phantom Undertow, gets the stun onto Jace, but here comes the counter gank from Kind Jungle, and Pyke might not be long for this world, but he's not going to die quite yet to the Corrupting Potion.
Just a tiny bit too early there. It was a good attempt from Blitzcrank, but he missed everything when he went in. Didn't hit the Q afterwards. And the follow-up from Kind Jungle, almost enough to secure it. If Mimi Baby had just held off on that E a tiny bit, they would have probably gotten that kill.
So close yet so far for the side of Kind Jungle here. Definitely would have given a little bit of momentum back over to the side of Team Clarity, because they kind of need it with the way things have opened up from the side of Fruition Esports.
Mid lane has sort of trended a little bit back towards Mimi Baby, though, even though they traded those kills early on. Drudozer now struggling a little bit to keep his health up, as expected against the Jace with that additional range.
CS lead so far. I don't know if we wanted to bring our attention to that, but bot lane seems... I'm not sure what these numbers are. I'm just trying to spectate off of another screen here, but it seems like Gibble is in the lead right now as his top lane. It's just another top lane trade. You know what the deal is.
Not by much, though. Gibble only up 7 CS right now, but I'm sure a little bit of that will be rectified as time goes on, because it looks like right now Sonar and Cat Ears... Ooh, hang on, Drudozer mid lane.
Yeah, but we got the Shen teleport. The Stand United is going to come in, and he's going to use this execution as well to get him in range for the easy taunt, and Jayton picks up a kill on a miss.
Almost a little bit of a misplay there. Drudozer missing with that second cast of the ultimate. Fortunately, did get the E onto Mimi Baby to be able to get back over the wall, so was still able to secure that kill for his team. And now with that one picked up, Jayton, of course, has the Bramble Vest, is going to be able to duke it out a little bit more with Tony Top.
Yeah, that Bramble Vest giving the grievous wounds. Even though Urgot doesn't naturally sustain, it still does help a lot. Oh. That could have been
a nice silence.
Yeah.
So there is one interaction, just to point it out before we go any further with this bottom lane. If you do land the silence during Pyke's windup for his animation, you can actually completely cancel it. So far, Blitzcrank has been throwing them pretty on point, though, to avoid actually getting the cooldown missed. But as you said there, a difficult position for Cat Ears to put himself into. If he messes up, he could very easily die.
It's a dangerous game that he is indeed playing. You want to provide the heals, but you also want to provide the pressure and the harass. As you are a ranged champion, then you definitely have that power.
Mid lane, now that everybody has backed again, the Kali actually, 1,500 gold still in Drudozer's pocket, so he has refused to recall just yet. He's going in again for another trade. Zin's here.
Yeah, Matty Moo is here for the gank assist, but nicely done by Mimi Baby here to use the acceleration gate just to give him a movement speed to escape the gank.
Has picked up some lethality for himself now, too. And I like that he's picked up the Fairy Charm. I actually hope he turns it in. One of my most hated things with the NA Jace meme is that nobody ever builds tier because it slows down your damage. The thing is, that if it ever goes late game, you just lose because you can never actually do consistent damage because 3 abilities and you're out of mana. So I'm glad to see he's at least got the Fairy Charm and potentially will pick up a tier.
Sorry. Klein is just bugging out here for me a couple times, but do see a huge shock blast getting a bit of damage on the Drudozer in the mid lane. And there could be... Oh no, it's just... For a second I thought that was a Kind Jungle roaming down for a dive, but it's just Pyke, coming to lend a little bit of support to his AD carry. Over here, the Cassiopeia does flash away. Madimu still looking for the chase onto the Cassiopeia, and the Pike ultimate comes out. Death from below takes down one on a sonar. Meanwhile, direct camera goes right back over to the top lane just for a quick second, notifying us that there will not be any more chase for the Soraka.
A lot of summoners blown to try and keep themselves alive as well, but no real way to actually get out of that, even with beautiful jukes. Mid lane.
Oh, the Ignite comes down, and Drew Dozer, he takes down Mist once again.
Oh, the Shen ultimate in as well to just barely save Drew Dozer. I don't think he would have died to the Ignite. Hang on. Kha'Zix is here.
Uh-oh. The 1-2 punch, the shutdown comes in for Kind Jungle, and he's out of there.
That was a lot expended, and all of it for naught as Kind Jungle picked up that kill. Tony Top, though, has found himself in a sticky situation.
And Madimu is here once again for the gank assist. Now, the flash comes out as well for the follow. They're still trying to chase him down, and J-Tom picks up another kill on a Tony Top.
Madimu just finding himself at the right place at the right time 3 times in a row there. Goes bot, picks up a kill, goes mid, helps out his mid laner as well. I don't know, his mid laner unfortunately dies, but walks top immediately for another one. Madimu getting the better of Kind Jungle as it stands right now. But that could, of course, change a little bit as different priorities right now for the two teams. The Dragon being taken right now by Kind Jungle, and the Rift Herald started by Team Fruition.
And I don't think anyone is going to try and contest Fruition here at the Rift Herald. They will trade the Mountain Dragon, as you said. Shock Blast comes out. Unfortunately, does not secure the Rift Herald as that would have been pretty damn cheeky for Team Clarity to pick up both neutral objectives.
Mimi Baby is behind in terms of the whole KDA, but he's completed a Youmuu's now, so I think Drew Dozer's in a little bit of a risky situation anytime he's walking up past that middle point in the lane. The Rift Herald, though, already used mid. That's a very early Rift Herald. Maybe just looking for some turret plating or something, but it was a questionable use, I think, of it.
Yeah, I was about to ask you the same thing. I was like, I'm not a color caster here, Lombax, but I don't know if that is the most optimal use of a Rift Herald. He got it. I mean, it's not like he was pressured to use it anytime soon. I think you have at least a minute and a half or 2 minutes. I'm not sure what the exact time is, but he just dropped it as soon as he got it.
I believe it's actually 5 minutes.
Wow, that's a very long time then. Well, I guess they felt like that was the play they needed to do, but
maybe he was trying to ward. That's, a common mistake. It can happen.
Yeah. You hate to see it happen.
Yeah.
All right, Lombax, just going to let you know right now, you're going to have to carry me through what is happening in the game at the moment because screen share is not cooperating with me at the moment. So if anything happens, just take it away, my friend.
There is an Urgot and a Shen trading back and forth. It's extremely exciting, I promise you.
All right. It just wet noodle fights, right?
Exactly.
That's my favorite.
Kha'Zix is up here, though, giving a little bit of support, and of course that's spotted out by J-Ton, so that will probably be first hurt. It's a bit of a race, though, with Ezreal bottom side. Team Clarity do just barely secure it, though, over the Ezreal and Pyke.
And that's definitely a much-needed boost for the side of Team Clarity. However, Madimu, he's on a ward, so they know he's here, but they're not going to contest it. However, the Stand United comes out, the True Shot Barrage, and the death from below from Pyke takes the kill down on the Sonar.
It is not Sonar's day. Drew Dozer.
Looking for another.
Whoa!
Ooh! Where did Miss go, Lombax? Oh, but Kind Jungle now in the ring, looking for another redemption kill for his fallen comrade. Is he going to be able to get it? Yes, of course he will. Kind Jungle picks up kill on the Drew Dozer. Meanwhile, Pyke, no, he's going to look for another kill onto Cat Ears, but the flash comes out, the stab, the wind becomes lightning. Madimu picks up a kill for himself.
So many fights happening across the map, and Mimi Baby is not having a good time. Even with that advantage in the mid lane, Drew Dozer is just repeatedly picking him off now. Bottom side, though, another tower falls. So the bottom side of the map really trying to carry over Khan Jungle because he is the one saving grace right now for Team Clarity.
Yeah, the gold lead is, I mean, I can't read the numbers here off of the...
4K.
Thank you. So 10 kills to 3, 4K gold up. Turret-wise, I'm assuming that's a 2? No, that's a, what is that? Yeah, that's 2 turrets to 1, right? For the side of Fruition Esports. Yeah, this is a huge lead for Fruition Esports. And frankly, going back to our preseason power rankings, if you did check out the Dark Zone cast yesterday with our lovely headcaster Hypertension, as well as broadcast director XT and fellow caster Return, they put Team Clarity at number 5, whereas Fruition Esports was going to come in at 13. But right now, Fruition Esports looking like the better team right now.
I think this might be a little bit of a first game jitters as well. We talked about how the roster is a little bit different for Team Clarity. Khan Jungle and Mimi Baby not on that original roster. So maybe that could be affecting them as well. Mid lane. Oh, nice silence there from Cat Ears to deny the pull.
Oh, but he's going in for the perfect execution. Lands the microstun. The damage from Death from below allows Drew Dozer to pick up the kill on the Sonar. Here comes Kind Jungle as well, looking to pick up the pieces. Gets himself a double kill on both Drew Dozer and Pyke. Now looking for potentially a triple kill, but that's going to go to the meat grinder himself. Tony Top gets the fear onto. It looks like Gibble's going to just blink out of that one right now. But that should be the end of that fight.
I think he had to use both his flash and blink to get over that wall. The fear just barely clipping him, and Kind Jungle. I said earlier, he's the one person keeping his team in the game, and he proved it in that fight, picking up that first kill onto Drew Dozer and then just snowballing the rest of that fight. Those are some important kills and towers going over to Team Clarity now.
Oh. Be careful there, Jayton. Yeah, that is a Yuma's Ghostblade and almost Duskblade, Jace. So even though he does have the Bramble Vest and the Tabby Boots, that's still going to be in a world of hurt. It looks like Kind Jungle does pick up the Ocean Dragon. Was threatened by Pyke, but he's going to be able to leap out.
Sonar is not having a good game, though. I will say that. Even if Team Clarity's getting back into this, they picked up another 2 towers for themselves. They've brought it back to an only 1K gold lead now. Sonar is having it rough. They picked up this Cassiopeia first pick, and he has been demolished by Blitzcrank and Gibble. That was the lane we said maybe they're not ready to match up to Cat Ears and Sonar, but they have brought it so far this game.
Yeah, it's a very pleasant surprise for the side of Fruition Esports, especially that the Gibble and Pyke here have been able to step up so much against Sonar and Cat Ears. And especially for the likes of Cassiopeia, who should be a very lane-dominant champion. Now that lead is not even being put to good use, as it's very behind.
Well, speaking of leads, good to take a look at the items that are in people's inventory right now as well, because some people are going to be reaching their item spikes. Of course, Akali, Hextech Gunblade, that's already your item spike right there. But the... Ooh, hang on, Blitzcrank.
Uh-oh, Pyke looking for something onto Kind Jungle, but he's going to use the camouflage to get himself out of that 60 situation. But Stand United, I believe, was burned.
Yes, so they did have to burn Stand United to save that Pyke. That's an important cooldown down now. They can't really make cross-map plays the same way. Jayton's still holding that teleport. It's going to be very hard for them to actually make anything happen on the other side of the map without that additional protection.
Oh, but no, Kind Jungle, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. You're going to get shut down by Gibble. Oh,
yeah, Cat Ears as well.
Yeah, Cat Ears was caught by the slow from the Iceborne Gauntlet. Double kill coming in for Gibble. And now Jace looking to clean up the pieces here, but I don't know if that's going to be long for this world. Mist is able to get out with the Hammer Shock, and Tony Top actually takes down Matty Moo. Fires the Shock Blaze from the distance, helps him get a double kill, as well as a kill for Sonar. And now he's looking to chase Drew Dozer in a 1v1. The screen is frozen. I can't see what's happening. Oh, he flashes in. Drew Dozer does get the kill eventually on the Sonar. And now maybe Drew Dozer can assist his top laner trying to take down this Urgot, but Tony Top is just so damn strong for being a massively bruiser champion, and Jace does force Drew Dozer away.
Well, just before that fight, I was talking about the item spikes. Tony Top, of course, now picked up that Righteous Glory on top of the Black Cleaver, so he is running people down, able to engage into that fight with the Righteous Glory. pick up the low health members after Kind Jungle and Mimi Baby had lit them up. And that's really what turned the fight, was that huge ultimate from Tony Top. He feared 3 people. He took them down immediately after. And there was nothing they could really do to turn that fight back around then.
And it looks like Kind Jungle's investment towards the top side of the map after Manimu had paid his own ganks over there has seemed to pay it off, as now Tony Top is taking that lead and using it extremely well in these skirmishes.
Back to the item spikes as well. It looks like Ezreal's going for a little bit more late game focus with his build. That first 2 items completed there, the Iceborne Gauntlet and the Mirror Mana as well, but it looks like he's actually going for the Seraph's Embrace for that triple tier build that was sort of popular about midway through last season. So we'll give him a lot more late game damage, but he's sacrificing a lot of that mid game power that he'd have right now. I'll have to see what kind of effective use he can make of it later on in the game.
Oh, Manimu trying to go in, but the turret goes down, and I think that's all Team Clarity wanted. You see Tony Top using the Righteous Glory just as a zoning tool. You don't want to be caught up in that slow, especially with how far Tony Top is right now.
And he is real tanky now as well. He's picked up components to what should be the stone plate. So that's going to give him those additional resists that he's a little bit lacking there because of the Black Cleaver. And he will be very difficult to kill now unless you're piling onto him with 3 members. Small health bars and resistances of Manimu, Drudozer, and Gibble are not going to really provide them enough safety from Tony Top at this point in the game.
And despite the early momentum lead that Fruition Esports have, Team Clarity clearly has the upper hand in the macro game at the moment, preparing for this bottom lane siege just shortly after taking that second tier mid turret. And Lombax with these Jace acceleration shock blasts. I don't know if Fruition Esports are going to be able to hold out.
Holding towers right now is going to be very difficult for them. They haven't even tried to pick up a Baron yet either. I'd really like to see some vision moved up towards that. There's a little bit around it, but not enough so that you can just go and try and secure that. The big thing right now is still Blitzcrank. If he's able to land those massive hooks, he could potentially turn fights, but right now he's just getting chunked out by those shock blasts from the Jace.
And just like that, they lose the second tier turn on the bot side of the map, whereas Kind Jungle also doubles back and picks up, I believe, a second Mountain Dragon. So now, if they turn their eyes towards the Baron, it's going to be that much easier to take down.
I think that's got to be on their mind as well, because that's really going to allow them to crack those inhib towers. Right now, as it stands, those outer towers they were able to pick up fairly easily with their own poke. But to pick up those inhibitor towers, I think you need the Baron buff, even with that poke from Jace, as well as Cassiopeia's zoning with that Miasma. Without the ability to just buff up those minions so you can really get hits in, it'll be very difficult for them.
And we already see the vision control coming out from Team Clarity as they move towards the Baron. We see Manimu looks like was getting chunked out as well. J-Ton having to flee like the wind. We see Tony Top also making an aggressive shade. The flash coming in from Sonar. He wants Gibble, and it forces out the Stand United from J-Ton.
Even with the bad early start, Sonar playing extremely aggressive, flashing forward, healing, trying to run down that Ezreal. This should give them the chance to actually try and pick at this Baron if they want it. Manimu's healed up a little bit, but right now the health bars are not looking too good for Team Fruition.
They're going to have to secede this jungle eventually with the amount of waves that are coming in from both mid side and the bot side as well. Someone's going to have to answer the bot side, and without the Stand United, it does mean that J-Ton will have to just resort to the teleport. If someone comes in, actually, there is Manimu is in a really bad spot. He flashes right in, but Drudozer does take down Cat Ears. Will that equalize the damage right now? Gibble does take down Sonar as well, and Tony Top, he's against 4 people at the moment. He's not able to find any kills at the moment as well, and I can't see a damn thing. The screen's froze. Oh, but Kind Jungle does pick up one onto J-Ton. The death from below. Resets are looking for it, but he's not going to be able to take him down. No way! What a snipe from downtown. Tony Top picks up a double kill on a Manimu.
I was waiting for the Urgot ultimate the entire time. That fight started and Tony Top did not have the ultimate. He was looking for it. There were so many low health targets near him, but they couldn't quite be there when he got that ultimate back. But the final snipe at the end after his team turns around the fight, that's got to feel good for him after struggling a little bit, going 0-2 in the laning phase. His bot lane not doing too hot. Coming back there and picking up that inhib has got to feel good for Team Clarity.
Now, what a huge momentum change in that fight alone. I mean, opening up the fight with Sonar and Cat Ears going down, it seemed like this was the fight that Fruition Esports needed to be able to turn around, eventually turn towards Baron afterwards. But Tony Top standing tall and standing strong, able to withstand the onslaught, and Kind Jungle also able to pick up the pieces a little bit. And then that, like you said, that last snipe was freaking godlike, man.
That was like very edge of the max range there. Madimu just barely caught by it. Poor guy.
Yeah,
Didn't even see it coming.
Urgot out here making Caitlyn ult looking short range with that snipe, dude.
It's got some pretty good range on it. It's just hard to hit at that distance. And on top of that, Tony Top, he's playing that Chad top lane Urgot right now. He's finished the stone plate and he hit that snipe and he's like, you know what? I'm the carry now. He buys the BF sword. He's going for that GA. He says, I'll be the one to win this game.
$10, it's a bloodthirster. I'm just calling it. That would be the old.
He's got the cloth armor. So if it was a longsword, I'd agree. But with that cloth armor, it's got to be the Guardian Angel.
Man, please, Tony Top. If you're listening, 3 minutes into the pass, just go for a bloodthirster, man. Do it. Show the utmost disrespect.
I'd love to see it, but unfortunately, I don't think that'll happen. A lot of really good vision clearing, though, from Team Clarity right now. We've seen a lot of wards thrown down by Team Fruition, and they've all been cleared from some stellar placement of those pink wards, as well as the zone control they're providing to deny them from actually getting in to replace those. Now everybody's got a recall as well, and this is their opportunity. Not many wards to actually check over that wall. That's the last blue ward.
Yeah, Madimu does not have flash as he burned in the last fight, so he wouldn't be able to go over for a flash. Smite steal if things wanted to, but Drew Dozer is actually using the Stand United to bring Shen with him. Goes in for the perfect execution, looking for the damage onto Sonar. They do take him down. He goes golden for the while, popping the Zhonya's Hourglass, but now the rest of the team is turning towards him. Kind Jungle trying to wear down Drew Dozer and does have Mimi Baby to be able to take him down. That is a shutdown, but Tony Top, he's going to finally fall as the Gibble does pick up a shutdown. Drew throws out the shoot drop barrage, but the barrier comes out, but not to no avail. He picks up a double kill before he eventually falls down as a triple kill is secured by Mimi Baby.
What a messy fight. No team really getting the better of it in terms of the actual execution. It was a good attempt at the start of the fight there from Drew Dozer and Jayton, but it looks like they're just losing their base here. Mimi Baby, the real star of that fight.
Madimu's going to try to do his best to hold them off, but I don't know how much he's going to be able to do. As Kind Jungle, I believe he just is zoning him off. And just a couple more autos from Mimi Baby should be able to secure the win. Kind Jungle leaps over, gets the angle, and ladies and gentlemen, the first game is taken by Team Clarity.
A messy Baron fight, but in the end, it doesn't really matter how you got there. It matters that you won the game. Might not feel too good, but you've always got a game to make it feel better. Team Clarity, shaky start, but looking pretty good towards the end.
Right, and we're going to have to see how these two teams adapt for the second game. Fruition Esports going to have to take a look at their draft and see if they need to respect that Kha'Zix pick for Kind Jungle, or if they need to focus just a different game plan. But we will be finding that out in just a few minutes here, folks, as we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, be ready for game 2.
The core design of the mechanical keyboard hasn't really changed in over 30 years. The mechanical switches used today were actually created in 1986 and are resold today as innovative. The number pad on the right was used as a navigational tool before the mouse was even invented. Our games have changed, so why hasn't one of the most important ways we interact with them changed as well? Say hello to the B945, or as we call it, the Game Changer. With the number pad on the left, you get a more ergonomic form factor, reducing shoulder strain and tension, while still retaining the ability to have a full-size keyboard. The number pad can also be reprogrammed as a macro block, making it a versatile setup for all your work or gaming needs. Mechanical switches? Yep, we've improved on those as well. Welcome to the speed of light. We've reinvented the switches from mechanical to optical, while still retaining the same tactile or linear feel, but with better
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are getting ready for Game 2, starting with the draft phase in just a few moments here. It is, of course, myself, Rafa, and Lombax Pie Boy bringing the match and series to you on the cast here. Now, looking over at Game 1, Lombax, what were some of the key points for Team Clarity's victory?
I think it's hard to put it into one words. I think Tony Top and Kind Jungle are both absolute beasts. That'd probably be the two takeaways from me. Sonar really struggled early on that Cassiopeia, so I don't know if they're going to be drafting that as their first pick again. But if they do, hopefully Sonar has a little bit better performance, because it wasn't really until those late game teams he was even doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that we do also have to point out is that even though Gibble did a surprisingly decent job on the Ezreal pick, he has been subbed out for a disconnector, which we were trying to get some last minute prep on this man's account, but just looking over it, he's got a ton of games on Vayne, he's got a ton of games on Ezreal, as well as Kaisa. So definitely someone that looks more adept and ready to play a plethora of marksman champions.
For them, Jarmaja. What are we gonna go with there?
Oh, Dizyar Mag. Dizyar Maga. All right, chat. Let's figure out how to pronounce this. Dizyar Maga. Ziar Maga. Let's do that.
I don't know. We're into draft. Fruition's already gone with two of the bands. Clarity, of course, losing one of them for being late early on. Jackson Morgana off the table. Cassiopeia banned away as well. Clarity, they are so upset with Sonar's performance, they're banning it away from their own ADC.
That's definitely not what you want to see. And normally in solo queues, sometimes you go for that Yasuo ban just to make sure that your own teammates don't play it. But when it's your own competitive team, now that's a feels bad, man. However, that Urgot hovering on that ban and officially locked in, that is something you want to take away from Tony Top.
Yeah, he was a monster in those mid to late game team fights, really put the team on his back in a couple of those. So I'm glad to see that Fruition has learned from that, taken it away. The Kha'Zix's still up, though, so that could be another pickup we see for him. And Blitzcrank now taken away from Blitzcrank. So pretty standard so far in terms of the bans.
Now, Fruition, they have the first pick option here. There's still plenty of options that wasn't available, like the Galio, as they lock it in.
I do like that. A little bit of flex there. If you do want to run him bot, there's potential to, but you're almost always going to see him mid lane, as that really is the place where he shines. You're able to get to the side lanes, use that hero's entrance to help out your team. And with his current kit and abilities, he is pumping out quite a bit of damage. And I like this hover here from Clarity. They do go with the Lucian instead. Still have the potential to pick up the Bard, but that is the other one that Blitzcrank's playing a lot. The Aatrox instead locked in as that second pick. 2 power picks there for Clarity.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Aatrox still can be flexed mid lane if need be. It doesn't necessarily have to be for Tony Top. Meanwhile, Fruition does lock in the Camille. More than likely going to go for Matty Moo, as it is his second most played jungler, looking at his solo queue records, but can also be technically a flex pick if they want to send it to Jayton in the top lane.
I think at this point, you'd probably want to send a jungle, just with Aatrox, being a fairly decent matchup. You don't know where he's going either. The Vayne is still on the table, and this will be interesting if this is picked up. No priority was shown on it last game, but she's been a very popular pick so far. And with that Lucian already locked in, they know what they're picking it into. So, Disconnector, known as Your Fantasy on his main. This is going to be his first game here on this best of. Can he bring the fire on this Vayne?
Clarity are going to try to respond with their support pick. More than likely, it is going to be that Rakan, unless they bamboozle us with a switch over. But having some massive engage options with the Grand Entrance and the quickness definitely going to be needed here for Clarity.
I like this a lot as well, because now it allows you to ban out some of the support champions and really deny Fruition from getting a comfort pick for Blitzcrank. He played the Pyke last time around. You can take that off the table. You can take the Bard off as well if you want, and completely deny him from playing anything that he's comfortable with. The Morgana's already off as well, and it looks like they're just taking the Hook champions off the board as Thresh, you're out of here too. Lucian doesn't want to see you around. Get out of here.
Yeah, they're banning Hook City away from this man right now. And if they want to follow suit, they could potentially ban the Pyke away from him. As, you know, to be quite fair, Blitzcrank was making a pretty impressive performance, at least for the first 15 minutes of the game on that Pyke.
I think one thing they're not afraid of, though, is that he was missing a fair few abilities when he was going for some of those roams and ganks. Fruition now deciding to take away a bit of mid lane staple there. They must believe the Aatrox is going top if that's the case. And Clarity hovering,
What
Silas.
He's not in
York
this game yet.
will be banned out, though, instead. That's a good one to take away there. Opens up a little bit more options in that top side for Tony Top, as, of course, Fruition very much are going to be favoring something like the York for Jayton, as that's his most played.
Yeah, and if you're not going to pick it up in the first round of the ban phase, you know, definitely it seems like Jayton wants to wait for a counter pick option, but because he is on blue side, he has to eventually succeed that counter pick option, since we still don't know if that Aatrox is going to be for sure in the top lane, the mid lane, or technically the jungle if he wants to run that avalanche. So.
If you're really spicy, he could even be bottom lane and you run the Lucian mid.
Oh man, and now we're talking LPL right here.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Just screw the meta. It's actually Rakan mid. We're going to run Lucian jungle.
No.
And it's Aatrox support.
God, Rakan mid was truly a darkest timeline. However, the Zac being locked in, I don't know if we've really seen Zac anywhere else other than the jungle roles. More than likely, that is going to be the Flubberman himself wandering out.
Oh, this is nice. I really like this. If they actually go for this, the Poppy is the perfect counter to 3 champions there. The Lucian potentially as well, depending on how you're playing the Poppy. They lock it in, and this is such a huge denial tool. Now, if they want to lock in an engaged support, I think you're pretty much set as Fruition. This is a very strong team fighting comp they've got for themselves.
Yeah, Alistar still on the table. If Blitzcrank fancies his play around the cow himself, there is also the likes of a Tom Kench who wants this utility, but the Braum is going to be the one locked in here.
That really does offer a lot of safety to the Vayne, though. And, you know, where you've got a lot of engage already with that Camille's hookshot into the hero's entrance, I can see them going for something more like this that has the ability to play more defensive. The Alistar now being hovered, I don't like this if Clarity's actually going to lock it in. The Poppy is still a great denial tool into that. Also, that's got to be a mid lane pick. What am I talking about? The Orianna locked in.
He bamboozled us. He's like, oh, maybe it is the Rakan mid, but no. The Orianna being locked in here, going to match up more than likely against that Galio unless they have some really weird flex options. But of course, we're going to be able to get a chance to see where all of these champions do line up once the teams start up the actual client draft, and they will eventually then put the champions where they're going to be. But things that we can talk about here, Lombax, is that we've got the tale as old as time Camille Galio composition. You lock someone down with hook shot from long distance into the Hextech ultimatum, follow up with the hero's entrance, and of course the Justice Punch and the taunt. I mean, this Lucian is, even though he has some mobility and escapes options, he's not going to be able to escape that at all.
Yeah, I think the bigger issue is how do they engage? Clarity right now with their team composition, they love team fighting as well, especially in the mid game with that Lucian and Aatrox. They want to find engages, they want to pick people off. But how do you do that against the Poppy, Braum, and Galio that can just stand there and deny your engage tools if they really want to? This is going to be a tough ask for Clarity. Unless they steamroll, I don't really see them being able to walk away with the win against that Vayne late game and her ability to demolish health bars with that Guinzu's Rage Blade.
Vayne has been on a tear in solo queue if you've been watching, as well as we've seen Vayne pop up a few times in the LEC, I believe. And like you said, yes, the composition from Clarity, they want to engage as much as they can, but that steadfast from Presence, I know you got really excited when that Poppy was locked in, because it practically denies a lot of their engagement options. And so you almost wonder if Clarity, do they even want to engage and then just get kited out by this composition, or do they have to bait Fruition into engaging and then go for a counter?
The issue with baiting Fruition to go in is when they go in hard, right? That hook shot into the Hextech ultimatum, like if that's going on to your Lucian, this is already a rough team fight for you, because that is a lot of engage and damage, especially with Galio in his current position. He deletes health bars right now. I don't know if you can bait and engage and then try and re-engage after, because it's going to be difficult. I think they're looking at Mimi Baby to really carry these team fights with some super clutch shockwaves that can pull Disconnector and maybe even Ciaramaga in as well. We still didn't decide on what we're calling him as well, by the way.
Oh, Ciaramaga. I think that's the easiest way that rolls off the tongue, maybe.
We'll see once we're in the middle of a team fight. We'll put you to the test, Rafa.
Oh, yeah, fair point. I do like the fact, though, that this Orianna has been locked in with a lot of ball delivery systems here. The Zac is one that was very popular when Zac was first released back in Season 3. We also have the Rakan here as well. And with his long engage range as well, being able to deliver the ball for a hopefully 5k Elo Shockwave on the side of Team Clarity here could be instrumental in turning the tides of the skirmish.
Remains to be seen how that happens, though, and in regards to the actual game as well, we haven't talked about the subs since introducing them. Disconnector and Ciaramaga are stepping in here for game number 2. They have to win this game, so A, that adds a little bit of pressure, and B, are they going to be able to have the same sort of teamwork that the original roster did have for Fruition? They had some really great early ganks and fights. Can Disconnector and Ciaramaga instantly click with the rest of the team in this game number 2 to be able to withstand what I'm sure will be some very potent early ganks from Kind Jungle this time around on Zac?
Yeah, absolutely. And the Kind Jungle being on Zac is a huge change-up then from when he was on the Kha'Zix. As the Kha'Zix, you're bringing a lot of the damage yourself, but this time he's bringing the crowd control, whereas Zac is not really a jungle that's known for 100 to 0-wing champions. That's more of Sejuani's alleyway if you want to look at tank junglers right now in the meta. But Kind Jungle on this Zac, in the early parts of the game, you don't really want to be trying to find Camille in the jungle or in the river, because that Camille can hunt you down, and that would be a pretty bad time for Kind Jungle right now.
Certainly would be, but Zac, of course, has the ability to gank from all these weird angles they are not normally used to. So if Kind Jungle's able to avoid Madimu for those first, 5 levels or so, I think he can start making a huge impact on these lanes. The Vayne really doesn't have a whole lot of safety against the Zac gank if you're not landing really clutch E's to knock him away. Of course, with Cadiers as well being on the Rakan, there's so much engage potential for Kind Jungle to find a good gank bottom lane, mid lane as well. Wait, hang on. So, Sonar is on Orianna and Mimi Baby's on Lucian.
Do you think that they are just sending Sonar mid and then Mimi Baby bot, or are they actually giving them? Because
Sonar is the typical ADC, though. And
yeah,
he did play the Cassiopeia bottom lane last game, so this very well could be a little bit of a flip around at the last minute here. And I actually kind of like this. Because Mimi Baby is on the Lucian, he has a ton of early game pressure, which actually works extremely well into Galio.
Yeah, and if you look at the LPL, they were kind of the ones who first innovated the Lucian counterpick into Galio. It's not like Lucian mid is something that we haven't seen before in the past, but against something the likes of Galio, Lucian is not only ranged, but also AD, so he is able to get in, go for quick harass, quick trades, and just poke out Ciaramaga on this Galio, and if he's not able to shove out his lane and then go for the roams with the hero's entrance, then that puts a huge dent in what Ciaramaga wants to do.
It does spice up the bottom lane a little bit, though, because Sonar is, of course, on that Orianna, won't be able to duel as easily with Disconnector early on. That remains to be seen in game, though, how they do play it.
All right. Well, we're almost on the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to throw for a quick break as we finally get ready for the Rift. Do not tune away. We'll be right back. And ladies and gentlemen, we are finally back on the Rift. I'm so sorry I stumbled there. I was just so amazed by that beautiful opening animation transition, the Bloody Invitational Gaming League, just brought to you once again by Darkstar Gaming and our wonderful producer, Hypertension, just bringing to you all the beautiful graphics and Lombax. We already see the game opening up with a bit of a 5-man defensive point orientation for both teams.
Yeah, last game, it was a little bit bloody at the start of the game, so I don't think they want that again. Cat Ears fishing for something, but not quite finding it. They do drop a ward there. So it is going to be that Orianna in the bottom lane for Sonar. So he didn't have a great showing on a mage last time around. Question is, can he make it work this time?
What are they doing?
Because Giving gold to cat ears. That's what they're doing.
I guess. They do sniff out that Sonar and cat ears were just waiting in the wings. They drop the ward in the river, so in case Matty Moo goes for a blue buff steal or a mid lane gank, which it actually seems like he's doing, but he's going to try to approach from the wall here. And
Does go in.
And he's getting a lot of damage on a Mimi Baby. Takes about a third of his health off the top. Now, hopefully leave some pressure for Ziarmaga. And then, meanwhile, bot lane, heal already being popped out. Cat ears taken down, forces the flash away. But Blitzcrank going a little too far in. And first blood this time goes over to cat ears.
Blitzcrank holding his flash way too long. Should have flashed out as soon as he got started to take that low. Stumbling over my words, but I'm amazed by that fight. Cat ears playing extremely aggressive into Disconnector, who's on the Hail of Blades vein. Her early game is incredibly strong. I do not know why you want to pick that fight with the Orianna right now, but it turns out in their favor in the end because of Blitzcrank's mistake.
Yeah, that's almost, honestly, a lucky mishap for the side of Sonar and cat ears, because Disconnector and Blitzcrank definitely had the upper edge, but like you said, just taking a little too much damage from the minions as well as the Ignite and not flashing away in time. If anything you want to take away from it, Ziarmaga going in for the flash taunt, following up. The hook shot is there. Matty Moo picks up the kill on a Mimi Baby.
Was a nice attempt to get away from Mimi Baby, but the flash not carrying him quite far enough away, and Ziarmaga will get the chance now to push out this wave and come back with a bit of an advantage. Matty Moo again picking up some early kills. We saw how good he was early last time around. It's on Kind Jungle now to respond this game and find his own early game strengths on that Zac.
Well, we see him waiting in the wings on the bot side of the map, but here comes Matty Moo. If he's going to try to counter gank this, he does get the elastic slingshot, gets the Q, pulls Matty Moo back in. They burn the heal from Vayne, but Disconnector's not able to save his jungle. He might not be able to save his support. Blitzcrank finally using the flash, but it doesn't matter. Sonar picks up another kill.
Ooh. If that elastic slingshot comes up anytime soon, they might actually be able to look for a dive here. Cat ears just backing off, though. Doesn't look like they'll be going for anything quite yet. Very nice counter gank from Kind Jungle, though. Reading Matty Moo like a book, expecting he'd be down in that bottom side, and they do find that kill, as well as the additional pickup on the Blitzcrank.
Yeah, you would almost suspect that as a Zac, you just want to power farm and avoid Matty Moo, as we were talking about in the draft phase of the game. You just want to get to that level 5 mark where you have 3 points in the elastic slingshot. It does open up a lot more ganking opportunities, but Kind Jungle instead says, no, I'm just going to go where Matty Moo is going to get, and I'm going to catch him off guard. And he's going to go for another one in the mid lane, but he has the taunt here from Ziarmaga, but he doesn't have any jungle assistance quite yet, as he will chunk out Ziarmaga in the mid lane.
It's a very nice gank as well. I talked about the different angles you can pull. That's a very popular one from Zac players, is to go over the wall of Raptors. And if you can do it over the enemy's Raptor wall, it's even better. So good pathing there from Kind Jungle, and Tony top as well with good presence of mind. Dropped that ward right before Matty Moo showed up. Knew he would be on that top side after failing his gank bottom.
You might have a roam from Blitzcrank. Even though he's not on the pike, he's still looking to try and help out his mid laner as he can, but it looks like he was spotted, and they call him off.
Don't think you can really do much without boots on Braum, though, so I'm unsurprised that he does end up backing off in the end. Just a little bit of extra vision to help keep Ziarmaga safe. Of course, Kind Jungle will probably be trying to revisit that, as Mimi Baby on that Lucian will want to demolish this lane matchup.
We haven't really talked about top lane. It's been pretty tame for the most part. Slight CS lead for Jayton, as that's just the way the wave is right now. But as we talk about that, level 6 has been hit by Jayton, but he's still taking a bunch of damage from Tony Top on this Aatrox.
Jayton kind of playing this a bit awkwardly. If you play it right, actually, you can match up really well into the Cat Airs.
Hail Blades, baby. That's a lot of damage will come out right away with the rapid amount of attack speed early on. 110%. And Matty Moo is here in case things get spicy.
Burst Dragon is an Infernal Drake as well, so it's good thing that Matty Moo's trying to spend a bit of time down here, gain that vision control. If they decide to look for it, I'm sure they can probably make a little bit of a contest for that Infernal Drag.
But they have to be careful here.
Yeah, they might be caught between a rock and a Galio.
Yeah, and he's going to go in for the taunt, but he doesn't have flash. It does force the flash, however, out of Sonar. And might as well take that one.
Well, good flash from Sonar, though. Does get himself to safety. Avoids taking too much damage as well. So can still continue to push this bottom lane wave and deny the attempts at Infernal Drag.
Yeah, Infernal Dragon for the likes of Meanie Baby and Tony Top and Sonar would be a huge opportunity for them to scale even harder as the game progresses. So any chance of denying that would be great.
Almost a requirement that Team Clarity gets it if they want to play late. Sonar.
They're going aggressive. Cat Ears missing the Grand Entrance. Not going to be able to get the CC, but here comes Kind Jungle. Matty also making his presence known, but Blitzcrank is going to fall like a rock. And now Matty does able to kill Sonar right here, but he has to run away. Cat Ears and Kind Jungle, even though they're not really damage carriers, they have the health advantage. They do take down Matty. Is he going to be able to find Disconnector? He does, and it's not in time as DR Maga comes in with the Hero's Entrance, but it's a little too late. The culling comes out. It's just only hitting minions, however. Mimi Baby was able to match the roam, but they don't get the kill, but 3 kills picked up here for the side of Clarity.
Clarity playing that very nicely, turning things to their advantage. Kind Jungle again there with the perfect counter gank to deny Matty Moo. It's like he just knows when he's going to be on that bottom side, and he always finds himself down there to deny any of his attempts.
It's been very impeccable, the pathing from Kind Jungle, just being able to answer Matty whenever he does make his appearance on the bot side of the map. He's doing a better job this time around of protecting Sonar and Cat Ears after taking note of how much they were beaten by Gibble and Blitzcrank from the previous game.
And I think what's really important about this as well, taking a look at Blitzcrank's KDA right now, 0-3-1. We've seen him play pretty aggressive on this Braum early on, and in ways that you really shouldn't be with the Braum. He's stepping too far forward. He's not tanky. I feel like he's playing it either similar to the Pyke or the Blitzcrank that he's usually used to, and it's not working out for him. It just doesn't seem like he has that Braum playstyle quite down.
Hopefully, for the sake of Fruition Esports, he tunes up the gameplay a bit, because Disconnector really needs his head in the game if they're going to try and get out of this laning phase ahead, as the gold lead, oh no, the Shockwave and the Grand Entrance combo is there, but not enough damage actually coming out. A Disconnector looking for the turnaround, did not pop the final hour just yet.
I'm just playing it safe, but still a lot of damage given back. Gotta remember that Halo Blades as you're going in for any trades. Hopside as well. We did try and touch on it earlier, but this is actually a little bit of a skill matchup, I think, between the Aatrox and Poppy. If Poppy is timing her steadfast presences right, she can deny the Aatrox quite a bit. Bot side.
That does a lot of damage. If he has another Quill from the Q for Cat Ears, he might be able to take him down, but Disconnector and Blitzcrank will not go down quite yet. Matty is here in case they need some pressure alleviated, but Disconnector and Blitzcrank, I don't know if they can stay much longer in this tower. There's a teleport coming in. Matty is looking for the counter gank as well, or the gank as well as Yarmaga. Kind Jungle is in far behind. How are they going to be able to clean this up as soon as they can? Cat Ears is going to go down as well as Sonar, but Disconnector actually goes down as well to Kind Jungle. And I'm sorry, I misspoke. Cat Ears never went down. He's still alive, and Matty gets taken down by Tony Top.
Tony Top with the late TP, but he gets in just in time to pick up a kill for himself. Very nice. That'll help him a lot in that top side matchup. All you need is a little bit of a lead to start doing some damage to that Poppy. That'll help him a lot there.
And once again, Lombax, like you've pointed out, Kind Jungle is here when Matty is going for a gank. I mean, this man on the Zac, even though he should be losing in a 1v1, he's never had to worry about that. And he just goes for the counter gank and outreads this man.
He's been involved in 7 of the 8 kills right now on his team, so it's obvious that he's having the right kind of impact here, and I like that he's instantly gone for this Infernal Drake as well. Nobody suspects the Zac to be soloing the Infernal, so he will be able to get that easily for his team and get them a huge advantage heading into this mid-game.
Yeah, it's kind of deceptive how well you can solo Dragon as a Zac because of that max percentage health damage you do on your W, and with it being very low cooldown, and of course the cooldown being reduced whenever you pick up those passive bloblets, it's very possible, and I don't think a lot of people think about that often.
It's not fast, though, is the thing. You're able to do it and stay fairly healthy, but you got to get the time to do that. And Kind Jungle found the right opportunity there after that nice fight bottom lane.
If we take a quick look at CS leads right now, it looked like Manimu might be going for something mid lane, but top lane is the story right now for direct to camera as Jayton just taking a little bit more damage from Tony Top at the moment.
Yeah, Manimu was looking for the ultimate there, I think, but didn't quite get in range of Mimi Baby, unfortunately, so he wasn't able to actually pick that up.
Manimu making a repeat appearance here, but he has to take out the control ward, so Mimi Baby's gonna back off that one for now.
This bottom lane not going the way you wanted it to either. Blitzcrank having a rough start, and that's sort of transitioned over to Disconnector now. They're down 32 CS right now to Sonar. Considering how game number 1 went and how much impact Sonar had later on in terms of his DPS in fights, gotta wonder how this is going to be continuing to go, as Sonar having a good game this time around.
Yeah, I mean, the Luden's Echo is already completed by Sonar versus Disconnector, who still hasn't finished the recurve bow for a second component item that will eventually lead into the Blade of the Ruined King. So he not only has that 20% CDR, but he also has that massive just mountain of burst that you do get from the passive.
Jayton does get taken low, but nothing happens in the end. And Kind Jungle, objectives all around the map, picks up the Rift Herald himself, only 13 minutes in. Might be even trying to steal away blue buff here, as that's about to spawn on the side of the jungle he is on.
Yeah, I
should be heading over there soon, though.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they had a control ward onto the red buff for Manimu, so they knew that he was still on the bot side of the map. They're going to be able to leash that blue buff over to Mimi Baby.
They know he's there, but it looks like the Camille does not want to take part in that, as Jarma... Oh, hang on. And Zaramaga really wanted that far mid. He is incredibly far behind in CS right now. 43 down, and Jayton...
Well, Massacre was popped for the revive in the case they need it, but Yaramaga is here for the hero's entrance. Is not going to miss or hit the taunt onto Tony Top. He does flash away, and Kind Jungle and Tony Top, they go for the dive attempt. It doesn't quite work out.
I think it did in the end, though. They traded 3 ultimates for two flashes. Did go down, but they traded it for one of Jayton's. They get a lot of pressure there. And Mimi Baby might just be able to pick up the first tower of the game here with this push. That mid tower has been chipped extremely low off the repeated roams from Zaramaga. He's up 50 CS now as well. And Braum below in the ultimate there, just trying to stop them from getting this bottom lane tower as well.
Practically 2 viable options. Oh my gosh, you're absolutely right. Just... he needs to touch it, but Yaramaga is going to try to prevent that as Manimu also comes in. The flash taunt, the shutdown is there onto Mimi Baby.
Now, one unfortunate advantage that the enemy team gets from you being 50 CS up is there is actually some shutdown gold on that now. Top side, a little bit of wet noodling fight.
Oh, that particle made it look like he had Iceborne Gauntlet. I took a quick look at the items, but no, it's just the snow poppy skin. But now going back to these item leads, Yaramaga has finished the Sorcerer's Boots. Does not finish the Protobolt quite yet, but whereas on Mimi Baby, he does have the Blade of the Ruined King. So if he wants to, would you advocate for sending Sonar and Cat Ears mid lane at this point and then putting Mimi Baby in a side lane?
Well, they've actually picked up that mid lane tower right now, so I think the actual best option is to send them top side, because Jayton cannot stop the Orianna and Rakan from pushing that wave in and trying to take that tower. You can send Tony top down, and Mimi Baby is able to hold that mid lane without issue. They've instead elected to send them mid lane, though, so it looks like they want to put some priority on this dragon here. Just want to see what it is.
And I believe Tony Top's teleport is should be up at the moment. I can't tell if that...
So they are making the right choice here simply because it's an Infernal Dragon. Mimi Baby does blow the ultimate, though.
Oh, Cat Ears looking for the engagement. Meanwhile, Disconnector and Mimi Baby going to be in a 1v1. Look at the damage coming out. He flashes in for the ignite, gets the kill on a Disconnector. Meanwhile, it looks like the rest of the engage is coming in. Manimu looking for the flash, misses it onto Mimi Baby, but it doesn't matter because Jayton is there with the wall slam. Fuses the Keeper Verdict, misses Cat Ears. Tony Top trying to get as much damage as he can, does have the Massacre if he needs it for the revive. Cat Ears looking for more damage, kills, takes down Yarmog, and Sonar takes down Blitzcrank as well. But so far, Clarity, they're wiping house onto Fruition Esports, and they pick up the ace.
Beautiful team fight from them. They trade aggro a lot as Sonar steps out of range and Tony Top, as well as his ultimate, drops off. Very nicely played by the both of them. This Rift Herald will let them get this bottom tower, and they're going to get that Infernal Drake on top of this. This is the perfect storm for Team Clarity right now. Disconnector will not actually try and chase the Orianna, but Sonar playing a little bit with fire there, stepping up again.
He's just showing, you know, and now that he's finally had a good lead in this game versus the first game when he was on the Cassiopeia, started out 0-4. He's trying to show, hey, man, the first game was a fluke. Now this time you get to see what I'm really all about.
Infernal Dragon does get secured as well. It is 13-5 and kills a 6K gold lead. No, sorry, my bad. A 7K, almost 8K gold lead now for Team Clarity. This is looking like a little bit of a stomp. And have you taken a look at inventories after that most recent back at all, Rafa?
Are you talking about the Medjais for Cat Ears, my friend?
The 10-stack Magi Soul Stealer for the Recon support.
Yeah.
4 kills, 7 assists. That is a Chad build.
Yeah, it is a Chad build, and Athene's Unholy Grail too, so it does a little bit of... It has 40 AP on it, so it's not like Cat Ears isn't doing damage, and now with the Medjais, he definitely will be. We might just be seeing an AP Recon come out at the pace of this game right now.
You mentioned that you weren't a huge fan of the Recon mid during Champion Select. What if Recon mid was still in the game, you just didn't know it?
Hey, man. It's not that I'm not a fan of Recon AP. It's just sending Recon mid against the Galio was probably not the smartest thing to do. But if he goes full AP and blows up someone, I'm all for that.
Yeah, that is fun to watch. I'll give you that.
Yeah, did you ever see Perks play AP Recon? That
was
beautiful. Anyway, back on the Rift, we are approaching the 20-minute mark, just about a minute and 10 seconds away here, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, Lombax, just Team Clarity have absolute control of this topside jungle at the moment.
Yeah, and I like this as well. They've already set up all the vision there for a Baron. They don't have the fastest Baron. Ooh, Tony Top.
Just taking a little bit of damage. He's got to be careful. It is a Vayne, so it does have the range advantage on you, as well as the Halo Blades for the quick trades.
So that vision you were talking about, though, I do like their priority on this, as it's going to secure them the ability to repeatedly push for that Baron, and it forces the enemy team to come and check that. Right now, they only have the one blue trinket on the Vayne, and she's bottom lane trying to deal with Tony Top. A little bit questionable.
Tony Top, if he was able to get his flash out, he could have potentially gotten the kill on the Disconnector, but the threat of that final Darkened Blade forces the flash from Disconnector.
That's what I mean, though. It's a little bit questionable to send your Vayne down in that 1v1. Yes, you want the additional gold and solo experience for your Vayne, who is your late game insurance. But a level 13 Aatrox, you know, he's heading towards the Youmu's. That's not really the person you want to match that Vayne up into.
Hey, man, just don't get hit. That's all.
Easier said than done.
Just like in Smash Bros. Like, don't get hit. You know, it's that easy.
Don't get full comboed. Just don't.
Yeah. A Kind Jungle, trying to clear out some vision. He does have Sonar here for backup, but it's against threes. Yarmaga does hit him up with the taunt. Now Kind Jungle says, let's go in, baby. The Shockwave comes out, but Manimu now in a 1v1 with the Camille. He does have assistance from Kind Jungle, bringing Blitzcrank back into the team. Hero's Entrance is going to be locking down the Manimu. Sonar does pick up a kill onto Blitzcrank as well, but Disconnector, he's now trying to reach the final hour, and this could be the final hour that Team Fruition Esports needs right now. He's trying to do his best to kite out, but he cannot match up to the damage that Mimi Baby is putting out. J-Ton now in a really bad position. No damage follow-up whatsoever. He's just a tank. Pepe hands for this man as he gets taken down, and it's a double kill for Mimi Baby.
Poor J-Ton. He was supposed to be the hero of the fight. He comes in to save Disconnector, who's trying everything he can to turn this fight around. He's popping people left and right, but the unfortunate Keeper's Verdict misses. It does not knock away Mimi Baby, and Mimi Baby secures the team fight win for Team Clarity. The Baron now going over to them as well. This looks like it could be the final hour for the enemy team, in fact, because Team Clarity is looking hot.
Yeah, Deathless coming in from Cat Ears, Kind Jungle, and Tony Top. And even though Mimi Baby and Sonar have 3 deaths apiece, I mean, this team right now is so dominating right now. And just compared to the first game where it was much closer, I mean, yes, you brought in subs to try and even the tides of battle, but I'm not sure if it's the subs' fault right here. We don't want to really blame a particular person or whatnot, but I don't know if the synergy was enough to bring Fruition Esports into that momentum they needed.
Look, Fruition's real issue now is the fact that they're up against Cat Ears, the Rakan god with 20 stacks on the Magi's, 5, 0, and 10, the true carry of Clarity and Disconnector. You're in the wrong neighborhood, buddy.
He's got 365 ability power on a support Rakan.
That's not support Rakan.
Yeah, wait, Mimi Baby does get taken down, but the Shockwave is there to find 3 people, and Kind Jungle is going to try to clean up the pieces along with the rest of his team. Cat Ears on the chase as well, zoning Matty away, and it does allow for an easy pickup onto Zyarmaga. Matty using the Hextech Ultimatum to try and bait it out and avoid Disconnector. Meanwhile, on the 1v1, does take down Tony Top. It is a shutdown for this Vayne. That could be something very useful to turn the momentum around, but the rest of Fruition Esports, they've fallen to Team Clarity.
Yeah, Mimi Baby, the sacrificial lamb, lets them group up for Sonar to have the perfect 3-man shockwave, followed up by Cat Ears' 360 AP full combo onto the team. That nets them that mid lane inhibitor and a little bit of time to go back, spend that additional gold, up 12k now. It's looking worse and worse right now for the team of Fruition Esports.
For the side of Team Clarity, the victory becomes even more clear as we're approaching that 25-minute mark. And I just don't know if Fruition Esports are going to be able to stall it long enough. Gwinsu's Rage Blade has been finally picked up now by Disconnector, but is it too late here, Lombax?
Honestly, might be. Like, short of a miracle team fight is really what I'm seeing here. Tony Top, I think, must have made a mistake in that fight in the 1v1. We didn't see how it ended up going, but Disconnector able to get the best of him. That shouldn't be happening right now with the Aatrox, who's got the completed Yomus. He has so much damage right now. Disconnector's really going to have to channel his inner Gosu if they want to win this.
Project Vayne, he's going to have to time those tumbles correctly, the dart in and out of the amount of crowd control that is coming in from Team Clarity. He has the dodge the Grand Entrance, the quickness charm. He has the dodge the Shockwave and the engage from Kind Jungle. Oh, Matty trying to look for something, but Kind Jungle is going to counter engage right back there and takes down his counterpart. Matty going down. Cat Ears taking a lot of damage, but he's going to go golden with the stopwatch. Mimi Baby picking up the pieces here with Zyarmaga, and a double kill coming in from Kind Jungle. And now Disconnector is not able to find anything, just a kill on the Cat Ears, but it's not enough. It's a full ace, a triple kill even coming in for Kind Jungle. And Lombax, I think we just found our winner for this series.
Not Cat Ears. He's lost his perfect KDA. He's lost some of his Magi stacks. The poor Rakan must be so upset over this. But a beautiful team fight in the end. We talked about the synergy not quite being there, and you saw it in that fight. Zyarmaga used the hero's entrance after Matty didn't quite reach for that Hextech ultimatum. And the team fight backfires there for Team Fruition.
Well, Fruition Esports victory did not come to fruition. No pun intended here, but
oh, come on, that was full pun intended. Let's be real.
all right, you got me, Lombax. But no, all jokes aside here, I think Fruition Esports, they showed a lot of strength and a lot of promise in the first game. Second game, not as convincing here for them. And I don't think we can really judge the subs and Disconnector and Zyarmaga that much, as they weren't really given much to ground to prove themselves in, as once Kind Jungle started countering all the Matty moves, they just ran away with the game.
Honestly, props to Matty as well. His early game jungling was spot on. He had a number of ganks in game 1 that really set up his team. He had some really good early ganks as well. In this first game, it was Kind Jungle's counter jungling that really turned things around this time. And he was just in the right place at the right time on the Zac. 8-0 and 12. I know I joked a lot about cat ears with it, Majai's being the MVP, but for me, Kind Jungle was the all-around MVP for Team Clarity just in general. Game 1, he was able to set up Tony Top to get him a couple kills, get him snowballing. In Game 2, he was on point with all those counter ganks to just be there for his bottom lane and make sure that Sonar had a good game this time around.
Yeah, going from an aggressive jungle like the Kazakhs, which is your most played, and then going into the Zac, having to completely flip switches in how you play the game, and it just, I think he did much better on the Zac than his Kazakhs, and it just showed how he played the map, how he read where Matty Moo was going to go, and then just leading the charge in all of these engages. I definitely agree with you, Lombex. Kind Jungle is the MVP for our first series of the league here at Bloody Invitational Gaming.
That being said, I do think there were some shining moments for Fruition. So if they can rally around Matty Moo, I think they have the potential with a little bit more synergy to, maybe come back, bring it back in the playoffs. I think this might even be, no, I believe it's Swiss Invitational. So they wouldn't see them until much later on if they were going to play against Team Clarity again. Mm-hmm. So, you got to step up very soon if you do want to end up seeing them in those playoffs. But I believe that will do it for us this evening, unless you've got some additional points you want to focus on, Rafa.
I just would like to see in future Fruition games, they should try experimenting with putting Jayton on carries. I know that Tony Top was kind of having the better matchup since he did have the Urgot and the Aatrox against 2 tanks, but maybe experimenting with that and then playing around Matty Moo's pressure might be something they look towards. But we're just casters. We're not the team. Clearly, they will know what's best for them, and I think that is going to do it for us here, Lombax. Thank you to everyone for tuning in to tonight's first series here at the Bloody Invitational Gaming League. That was the series between Team Clarity and Fruition Esports. We will be back. Not sure when the next stream is. I believe it's tomorrow. Same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that matchup, I'm just trying to find real quick here. It was on the
should be
well, all I know is that our boys XT and Orbital will be leading the cast on that one, and I know those boys do all fantastic jobs. So if you want to listen to some real hype casting, definitely tune in tomorrow for 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on LOL Darkstar Gaming, twitch.tv. We'll see you next time, folks. Have a great night.